Um, so it's Sunday. Good morning. How can I help?
Hi. How can you help? How can we help you? We just wanted to tell you how much we appreciate you. That's really that's really the biggest part of the call. Like we're seriously like you all need to be told that more often that you guys are very appreciated from the Better Life side, our side looking in. Like you guys are awesome, and we
And
really
you do a good
appreciate you.
job.
And you do, yeah, seriously, dude, you do a super good job hosting the call. Um, we totally appreciate all that. So it's awesome to have you as part of the family and leading this whole, I guess we'll say tribe. What is it, tribe?
Well, thank you. I got some bad news. I think I'm going to be exiting. So,
No,
yeah. So I think
personal
over the next
choice.
few weeks, what's up?
Personal choice.
Yeah, yeah. So I think over the next few weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to have Caleb come in and he's going to run Tribe Talk. Um, yeah. So,
Dude, bummer. Is that
sorry.
just
Hopefully you
yeah?
have an awesome opportunity
Yeah,
that you're
it's not
going
even
to,
good.
right?
Something like that.
Don't say.
That's
It's
not a
not.
good
No,
answer.
you're supposed to be like, yeah, dude,
You're
we
like,
got
oh,
the
it's
opportunity of a
awesome.
lifetime.
Life, uh, life is nothing but opportunities.
Dude, that's so true.
True.
Yeah.
It's all in how hard you want to work to get them. I
Yeah.
feel.
Well, there's no shortage. It's just what you want to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I had a really good year with Better Life. But I kind of did what I needed to do, accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, and I'm gonna go find some new chaos.
Oh,
There's plenty
wow.
of that too.
I
Yeah.
love chaos. Yeah, no, it's like they're all here in maintenance mode now. I mean, I started this thing, last December technically, and it was a lot of chaos, and now it's sort of in optimization and maintenance mode, and I hate those things. I don't want to do those things. I don't want to be part of those things, and so somebody else, some other new big project that needs to get conquered and started from scratch, and that's much more appealing to me.
Nice, man. That's
So,
cool. So you're still gonna
but
be part of it.
I'll be around. Yeah, I will
Cool.
be around.
Well, I guess here's a okay. So I got something I'll throw your way, and you tell me what you think of this, because I feel like you've done some big investing. You're a pretty savvy guy. This is something that's been driving me nuts for like the last year. I drive by malls, and we've been to a couple malls in the last, well, I don't know. We don't go all the time, but every time I go into one, I hate them. I don't think I've ever liked them, but now I really don't like them. They suck the life out of me. They're
And they're
boring.
half empty.
Yeah, they're always half empty. None of the shops, nobody wants to be in there. So the things you see all the time are those outdoor like strip malls or like those fancier
Hmm.
ones. So my thought is to take those malls, and this is just yeah, your mind can go where it wants with this, but take those malls and create a living space for people to live in there. Um, and then
I had this idea. I had this idea 14 years ago.
dude, really. What?
Yeah,
Okay, so shoot it down. Because I don't know. Like, I'm like, okay, is it not possible? Like, why we need to do something with these buildings? They're stinking so big. They sit there and they're not getting any business. These mall companies, most of them are owned by the same company, like Westfield or whatever. They own like all of them. It's like they're losing their butts. So it's like someone has to go to them and be like, I have the solution to your problem. And you're going to create like, and not just a living space, because you have to have what is it called to exit and leave? What's that called?
Acres.
Ingress and egress points. So from what I know so far is all the housing has to be built on the outsides edges of the mall so that people can have a window or something to get out, rooms. There'll be like one, two bedroom, maybe studios, mostly geared towards millennials because they seem like they want to be indoors all day.
Mhm. Gen
Um,
Z
oh,
also.
sorry, I don't know.
Big like gaming hubs or, like the fastest internet on earth.
Well, but okay,
Food delivered to your door.
yeah. So, and then also, what about businesses? Like all the businesses you can actually have in those malls, you can have like a place that's like a manufacturing facility inside the mall, like the old Sears, and turn it into like they make electric scooters. I don't know, assembly plant, or they have like call centers, which I know most of them are overseas now. But you could bring some of it back to the U.S. The cost to do business would be way cheaper. Your housing would be cheaper, and then you can have regular food courts in there and places for people to eat. The automation side of our world when I was a cop, they used to be testing that stuff all the time. Like automated Amazon delivery stuff, and it never works in the real world. Well, it does work in a controlled environment. So if you have that kind of stuff, you can set it up in those malls. All those big companies would probably jump in on that, you know. So anyway, that's just yeah.
I love
That's
that idea. It's
I don't know
very
where to
hard.
go with it.
Go buy one.
I found one too. It's only
Yes, you
like an
did.
hour and a half away.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some real trouble with that idea. I love that idea. That was my first big idea in real estate. I was like, what are these malls? Like, let's just turn them into housing. But you run into some really bad. There's a couple of like really like first level problems. One is first one you said is egress. So like now all that square footage you can only use the outsides, and that means popping a lot of fucking holes in the structure.
Yeah.
Two, plumbing. Everybody needs their own plumbing. Those places are not plumbed for individual units. So now you got plumbing. Third, those places are built around fluorescent lighting, which is not good for suitable for living. So now you got to replace
Oh,
all the lighting. Then you have some cultural problems, like once you make it a self-sustained, you know, only a few entrances, only a few exits place that's self-contained, and you live there, you work there, you shop there, yada yada yada. You have to run the real risk of creating a slum. You run the real risk of like drugs, prostitution, and gang activity. So then you say like you got to charge more. You got to have it to be luxury, and it's like who the fuck is going to live in a luxury mall, converted mall, right? Like I can afford a house. Why would I live in? Why would I live that way? When what you want to do is you want to make it an apartment building, but like apartments are designed that way.
yeah.
So and new apartments all have like coffee shops and co-working spaces built in and movie theater rooms. So like I love the idea. The question is you have to solve all those problems and do it cheaper than the current solution, which is just build an apartment building from scratch. Um,
Yeah. And
and
that's
then you have another big problem with what are you gonna do with all that concrete? That's a real problem because you can't cut that concrete up and then sell that dirt out in any reasonably cost-effective fashion. So you got a giant parking lot that you now have to monitor, police, and make sure that it doesn't become um, loitering and yada yada yada. And it's like you got to be able to do this all cheaper than the current solution, which is go buy a plot of land and build an apartment building, which we know works.
yeah. Yeah, and that's what those are all thoughts that have been through my head. And I'm like, okay, if I go into this process and show these people like it's cheaper to do it this way than it is to buy an apartment complex and put in stores. And if you can find a way to make it cheaper, then I don't think that it would be a slam dunk, you know? And I think that a part of it too is it wouldn't just be for the people who live there. It would be open to the public, right? So anybody can come and go. It'd still be like a mall in some ways. And the other thing is too, is we have to open it up to where there'd be like light, like you said, the fluorescent lighting sucks. So you have to like actually have you have to make it like Vegas, right? When we were at the MGM Grand in Vegas, think about like you can hang out in the MGM Grand like for a while. I mean, most people can. I get sick of it, but most people can sit in there all day because they make it like it's not just casino gambling. They just make it so interactive and there's so much stuff going on. It feels like you're outside, but you're inside. So that's the concept I'd have to shoot for is like take those malls and turn them into Las Vegas, you know, and then
Yeah,
bring
where are malls located? Are they located on the Las Vegas Strip or are they located in
it.
Middle America where people aren't, you got to like make it, if you want to make it a draw, people you want to actually go there, it's like now you got to make it high end luxury shopping. And you know what? Shopping is changing. People aren't, I hear you. I hear you, but to do all those things and then you're like, it's cheaper to convert it. I'm like, is it cheaper to convert it or is it cheaper to just build a new one? That
That's
land is not like hyper, I think about the mall we have in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I mean, it's in a good location, but it's like because it's in the middle of North Carolina, I'm like, there's cheaper land a mile away to build a house. So I hear you. I love the idea, but that is going to take a lot of resources and a lot of sort of that's going to take a lot of resources, a lot of planning um, to solve a problem, which is basically misused space,
yeah.
right? And yeah, at the end, the problem comes to is like that misused space is generally in parts of town where there's more land to just build fresh on than to have to repurpose some of that land. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can see this in like, Kmart went away. That's a lot of land.
Dude.
And so what did they do? It wasn't so much as a wall. What did they do? They made self-storage. That's like the hotness. Is you take a Kmart, you make self-storage. And it's like, okay, That's a good idea. The problem is you have like 10x, maybe not 10, but like eight, seven, 8 times that land size. And you got to do something with all of it to make it cost effective. And you have that giant parking lot. So I
Yeah.
love that idea. I've been dwelling on that for 10 years. I would love to see you make progress on it, but all
Yeah.
I see are headaches and easier ways to make money.
Yeah, and then that's the big thing, man, is like that I just trying to go to the right people. I'm like, hey, where do I go with this? I was talking to Christy Candell, who's developed and done all that stuff, and she's like, that's a super good idea, but she's like you're saying too, she's like, you just have to make sure it's cost effective. If it's not cost effective, it's going to be a problem. So that's the biggest thought for me is like, hey, how can I? Because I know those malls, they're going to get to the point where they're going to demo them, and just to demo that stuff and get rid of it is insane. That would cost a fortune just to do that. So I'm like, okay, if there's a way to use that structure still and even add to it and make it some type of housing or something like that, I mean, then you're saving that demo. But the plumbing and the electrical, all that stuff is going to be an issue. I can definitely see that.
Yeah. At which point
So
you get to a point where you're doing 40% of a demo anyway,
yeah,
50% of a demo.
Right?
Um,
yeah.
you know who's done really well with this is there's this place in Charlotte called Optimist Hall, and what they did was they take this old beat up industrial old like manufacturing compound campus, this manufacturing campus, all these brick buildings that they it was worth nothing. It's kind of like the mall of the last decade. Where you're like, now we have all these manufacturing plants. Nobody malls anymore now,
Yeah.
but like back then, it was like nobody textile mills anymore. So what do you do with all these textile mills? And so what they did is they turned it into a sort of what's become like um, a current day mall. It's these. Have you seen these like what do they call them? They're like food halls, food courts. And instead of it being like it's like a modern food court, it's like all small restaurants and they're like in a line. And so when you walk into one of these courts, it's all this different food. It's a food court, but then they also have like mixed retail and they have co-working space and coffee shops, and it's just giant campus, right? But I'm sure they got the place on like pennies on the dollar because who knows what to do with this unholy amount of land that's all dilapidated and decayed, and they're like, we'll call it fucking patina, right? And we'll put all these new buildings on there, and we'll do it really like indie style, right? And we'll get these small businesses coming here, small rents, but at scale it works. And because we got the property so cheap, it's good. But the malls, the 90s style malls are a real problem because it has so much infrastructure built in that hasn't had time to really decay yet. And to your point, somebody's going to come in there and maybe they're going to demo it. But sometimes when it's like, hey, I'll give you one more example. There's this hotel where I live, or I used to live in Fayetteville, that was just like a 100-year-old hotel, and it just like literally the walls were crumbling. It was a hazard. You couldn't go in there. City couldn't get anybody to buy it, and when they had a guy buy it, they got into an argument about like it's on the historic register, so they didn't want him to make a bunch of changes. So he just sat on it and let it decay for another 15 years before they finally just let it go. And this building, I think they sold it at its bottom for like 150 grand. Building's probably worth, I don't know, upwards of 5 million, like when it's in good shape. But I guess what I'm trying to say is when you're like, somebody's going to demo this, I'm like, yeah, when it gets cheap enough to bother. And so I think now if you go and talk to these malls, they're going to be like, we'll get a tax write off for losing money right now. This when the depreciation runs out, when the tax benefits run out, then we'll sell it for nothing because we don't care. But right now, we'll take the loss. So the other problem you have is with a textile mill versus that, where it's like right now, malls, textile mills, you get brick, you get nature, you get some nostalgia. Like that's a good Americana sort of vibe. Malls, there is no culture there. And maybe that will change, as time goes on. People like, remember this? This is, but like, dude, I'm telling you what, I'll take, I rarely use the words always and never, but I'm gonna break my rule here. There is never gonna be a point in human history where people look on fluorescent lighting as favorable. No. So, yeah. So like, it's never gonna be like, oh, look at all these box ceilings and fluorescent lights. It's like, it's never gonna be nostalgic. It's always gonna be like, wow, we were bad retail spenders. This is embarrassing what we did to ourselves.
Yeah.
So I love the idea. I love the idea, and I think people are answering that idea. And I mean, you and I are not the only ones that have had this thought. But then what they're doing is they're like, what if we bought this abandoned textile manufacturing mill?
Smaller scale.
It doesn't have to be smaller scale. It has to look uglier. and they're like, I can get that for nothing. And I don't, and now I can build rather than destroy then build. Because what you're talking about is destruction and then rebuilding to do something that is not, um, you're talking about not something that's not really a proven concept. You're like, I mean, you're talking about apartment buildings.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's a proven concept, but I'm like, nobody's going to pay a premium for you to go destroy this building. Like you're competing against people who are just doing new builds.
That's a perfect point. You have to be That's why if you're not competitive in the market, nobody's going to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I got to find if I could find a way. That's the thing. I just keep racking my brain, writing stuff down, and thinking, okay, what if I do this? What if I do that? When Christy was saying one thing, and that's what I was trying to say is like smaller scale. She's like, just do like a test. If you can talk to some of these leases or whatever that have the mall space, just say like, hey, can I take this space right here and convert it into this, and see if at least that way you can get into it and do a study and find out if it's even possible to do, and how much it would cost, and then from there you can figure out your cost all overall if you were to do a full size one. And
Yeah.
it would be insane. I couldn't even imagine how much it would
Yeah.
cost to do it.
Is this your passion project?
No, this was
So
just
what I
something
think the
that,
person the person who I think is gonna do what you're talking about, I I think it's not gonna be you. And the reason I think it's not gonna be you is because I think the person who is gonna do this is gonna be somebody who lives in the town where they're watching their own mall decay.
Mhm.
They're in commercial construction, so they're like, okay, I know how to convert that into a usable building, and it's meaningful to them because they're involved in the community and they want to see their mall. They don't want to see their city decayed, and they have the resources. And I think that's not a dig at you. I just think it's going to take a lot of this, and it's going to take a lot of this.
Yeah,
And so
that's the
somebody who's sitting there and they're like, I don't want to see my mall decayed, and I have the resources, like both politically, economically, and like physical, like infrastructure resources to be like, I can fix that, and I'm mad enough about it to do it. Those are the people I think are going to spearhead these mall changes. The people like you and me that are like, somebody should do that, or like that'd be a good idea. I'm like, I agree with you, but
yeah. Where do we
you
even
are going to have to go down a fucking rabbit hole that I just don't see it. It's going to have to be a passion project. You're going to have to go to the city and be like, hey, nobody's going to do this and it's going to rot. I can fix it, but you're going to have to give me subsidies. You're going to have to get me past the red tape. You're going to have to be bought in. And then you're going to have to go find contractors, and then we're going to have to do it. Da 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 da. So there's somebody in a town that's like a city council person that has a construction company, and they're going to spearhead this sort of project. Is my
I,
guess. And
I totally
I don't
yeah.
say that to be negative. I just mean like, what's your passion project? If you're looking for a way to make money, or maybe even a way to make an impact, um, there are going to be far easier and more profitable and more impactful ways. Like
Yeah.
you are looking at a problem, but it's not a devastating problem. It's like it's an abandoned problem. It's not like you're trying to fix up a slum. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, just fucking nobody comes here. Waste of space. And I'm like, yeah, it's a waste of space.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I just hate that stuff when I see it, and I'm like, I like just like you did. It's like, dude, you should do something with that. And it's like, So I was just like, oh, yeah, we can make it housing, but yeah, you can make it housing to an extent, but then you can't do anything on the inside of the building because of egress and whatever. So then I thought of the business side of it, but like I said, if it takes more to put all that effort into it, then why not just build it? And then
yeah,
it
because
doesn't.
I had the same idea. I'm like, okay, gym, salon,
Yeah,
bookstores,
yeah,
co-working, grocer,
yeah,
yada 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 yada. I'm like, now you got to go get all those business owners to come in, and you got to manage them and keep that thing. And it's just like, it's not just does the idea work. It's like somebody has to love this thing,
yeah, yeah. It
and
has to.
uh, and then and then and then at the end of the day, you have a converted mall. It'll be a
Yeah,
very it'll be a very clearly converted mall, and unfortunately, consumerism as an ideology generally does not produce beautiful buildings. That's not always the case, but like generally, especially in the 90s when it was
oh,
just like
dude.
there's not a good looking Sears out there.
Oh, yeah. There
So,
weren't a lot of good-looking cars in the '90s.
right, right, right. So you don't have this like misused piece of art that you can repurpose. You have like the 90s were like, I don't want to say it was like peak throwaway culture. And so you have these buildings that are throwaways.
Yeah.
They're big, they're unnecessary, they're I mean, it's the same culture that built Saturn. It's like we just have to sell cars. We don't care what they look like. Well, Saturn went out of business, and so did Buick. Is Buick Oldsmobile went out? Buick might still be around, but God,
So, yeah.
I
They
haven't seen
really,
one in.
but yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, it was so that same culture that made General Motors go bankrupt to oblivion in 2008 is the same culture that built 90s malls. And so I'm like, not to say like you should let them die, but like the US like the the government was barely able to save GM. Barely. And the only reason why I was able to save GM is because it was the biggest auto manufacturing company on planet Earth and it had a 100-year history. Malls, think about that same like what it's going to take to save them things. Malls are not too big to too big to fail.
Yeah. That'd be a good place to put all
Right.
our government officials, maybe. That'll be the new Capitol Hill. Just put them in a mall. There you go. Go work there. Oh man. Well, yeah, that was one. What else? Oh, so you're are you from Fayetteville, North Carolina? Or is that you just call home or friends know it area?
I lived there for quite a while, for a decade.
So where so Stephen Buttice and I just started a multifamily business partnership deal. And he wanted to just buy in Florida, and I just convinced him like let's look outside Florida too. So we're up in the South Carolina, North Carolina and stuff. So what areas up there is good? And we're not looking for crazy multifamily right now. We're looking for like garden style, Class C, areas and stuff like that. Is there good spots like Fayetteville or any of those areas up there good for multifamily to buy in and get in up there, or no?
Um, if you can find deals, there's a lot of good places. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm just trying to. There's a lot, man. I've been pulling up There's tons in South Carolina. I know North Carolina. I have a friend, actually Ryan. He's from Better Life. He's up in North Carolina. I think he's in. Where's the college at up there?
He's outside Asheville.
Asheville. And he said he's buying up there, and he's like, dude, it's good up here. So
If
I
you can
don't know.
find deals,
Yeah, that's what it always
yeah.
comes
I
down
mean,
to.
I come across I underwrite not a lot of deals now. The transactional volume's low, but um, we just looked at a 120 unit in Fayetteville, and there was no possible way that I would buy it. The asking prices and the cap rates are just don't they're too far apart. But
Really?
that's just the business. That's not representative of whether or not Fayetteville's a good area. It's just right now sellers are still thinking it's 2001 or 2021, and and buyers are like very. It's just a big disconnect, and it's maybe it's getting closer. I think I think it will correct over time, but that's just been my experience. But Fayetteville's good. Greensboro's good. Outside of Raleigh's good. Durham's good. Charlotte's good if you can find something outside of Charlotte. Maybe some of the satellite cities work. Um, Columbia, South Carolina. I mean, yeah, there's no shortage. It's just, um, yeah. I mean, C class multifamily is, you have the biggest tenant pool. It's not the not to say location's not important, but it's right now for me. It just seems like finding deals that pencil out where I can pay my investors 8% is I haven't bought one in coming up on 3 years.
Yeah. Well,
That's me. I mean, I don't put as many resources into it as I could, I guess. So
well, that's what this is all new to us, right? We've never done any of this raising private capital, all that stuff. And like I said, my goal at the end of the year is 60 doors by the end of the year through multifamily or whatever. And I'm like, okay, it's a lofty goal for sure, but I believe it's totally doable. I just got to get in to find the right deal. So I'm just trying to get like the agent pool, get as many people as I can looking, and get as much flow as I can come in the door, and just start running properties. And you know, I don't know. Trying to get more private capital people too. I have Lee Nugent. He's been really cool. He's actually going to meet with us on Tuesday to go over just talk about underwriting deals and how he does it. He's been super helpful. Then he's got a couple million of his own money, and then he's trying to do this pool thing where he's putting other investors together, almost like what is that, hard money or private money? I can't know what the hell they call that, where they invest. It's like a bank almost. He's like, oh, we got 30 million with all of us investors, and we'll loan to you or something like that. I don't know. So he's got that going too. But anyway, trying to get that figured out. She's starting like 2 or 3 businesses this year. Cleaning business is the one she's working on right now.
Yeah.
We just
So
feel such a
you're gonna
need
have
for
to
that
do it too.
because we're sick of cleaning Airbnbs, dude. It flipping
It's
sucks.
so bad.
Like we were running ragged today, like cleaning all these things.
I
Like,
closed my Airbnbs.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How many? Where did you have? Not in Hawaii or in?
in Fayetteville.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it didn't work in you know, it didn't work for me. It wasn't a good fit for me. I ended up making less than I would as a long-term rental with way more headache. So I was just like, ugh, no, I'm good. But that's me. I like, I like buying great assets and installing great operators and then moving on. I don't want to maintain my assets.
That's what we're trying to do. I mean, and our biggest issue is forever, like 20 years now, we've done everything ourselves because we're all like, if you want it done right, you do it yourself. And we still do, but we're realizing as we grow and get bigger, we're like, oh, we're gonna have to start actually using people. And that's scary because like people suck. Nobody wants to flip and work. Nobody, I'm like,
Let me tell you
oh,
something. I never want to hear that come out of your mouth again. I mean, you can
you're,
say it to yourself, but I don't want to hear it. That shit is negative.
you're
Solve,
right.
people created everything that you enjoy about this world.
I
I
know,
mean,
you're
Better Life is a community of people. Every dollar you're ever gonna make is from a people. Look at
right.
him rolling his eyes. No, I don't like that. I'm serious. Like that shit is negative and cynical. People are not. They don't suck. They're flawed, just
Yes,
like me.
I should have
They're
said that.
flawed, just like me. But people are the greatest thing that ever happened to fucking people, to humanity. We wouldn't be here without people. Somebody created the internet that I'm sitting here. The camera, the scheduling app, the office building. I didn't make none of this. Another human being did. So
You're
I
right.
don't
I should have
trash on
said.
people, and I don't let people do it in front of me. I apologize,
I
but
should have said. I should have said people are flawed because it's just what I'm saying. It's just that. But with that said, I will say that the Better Life Tribe is where when we went to Vegas, dude, that was so refreshing. I can't even tell you how refreshing that was, right?
yeah,
Because
people are
you're
fucking
right.
great.
Yeah, dude. Like we went in there and like I met you. I think it was the first person I met was you. You were over there with your backpack of photography stuff running around crazy. And I'm like, oh my God. You were like, hey man. And I'm like, what the heck? This is cool. And from there, it just like everybody we talk to, and that's the part of it that I'm learning is putting myself around, okay, we'll say good people or whatever, right? People that are want to pour in and work and like the Better Life Tribe. There's that, I feel like, especially being a cop and all that stuff,
I was
you
gonna
experience
say,
it too.
10 years of law enforcement made him
It just,
not
dude,
like
it just
people.
sucked the flipping life out of me. So it was so good to like start meeting people again, right? And just be like, they're excited. They want to move. They want to get things done. So I shouldn't have said that. You're right. And I deserve the lecture. Thank you for lecturing me. My wife does it
Thank
all the
you,
time to me.
Alex.
She's like, stop being so
Yeah.
negative. But
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah,
it's tough, man. It's tough.
nobody wants to be around that. For that, like selfishly, nobody wants to be around that. Secondly, it's just bad. It's just wrong. And I understand if you're a cop and you just deal around people. Like I got a couple of cop buddies, and you're just dealing with people on their worst day. Not people not the exact same people on their best day. You're dealing with people who are making bad choices and on their worst day. So like I hear you also. I just came from church and we read which I'm a new church person. We just read Romans and something. Who are you to judge?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
You got
And,
flaws too, my dude. So I will say this about partners.
yeah,
Not
please.
everybody is a perfect fit for your business. I have a partner in North Carolina that's my property manager. He is a godsend. I would not be able to live the life that I live without him. And the day he retires, quits, passes, whatever the case, I am screwed. There is nobody else on planet Earth made like him for me. So, and there's way, 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 way more people that would not be as the same amount of blessing. So, like, your job is like, how do I say this? It's not people that are the problem. It's finding the right one for your use case. So like, you got somebody who's a pain in the ass, like get somebody else.
Yeah.
They're the perfect person for something else, and they're not a good fit for you. I fire people. I've had partners, and I fired partners, and I've had like employees and vendors, and I fired lots of them. I fired more than I've hired. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like I've just, you know what I mean? I fired almost as many as I've hired. Actually, I fired more than, yeah, I fire people all the time. It's fine. That doesn't mean that it's not their fault. It's just I'm the same way. I'm a really lousy fit for for most things that I've tried to do, and you just gotta like
What you're
find the
good
right
at.
thing.
Yeah.
So just find the right people. And then some people are good, but to make them great, you have to invest in them. And so like they're not gonna people are an investment. That's exactly the reason why I do this call. I've been doing these calls with strangers for like 5 years now.
Wow, that's
And it's
awesome.
like, I don't know. I just try to invest in people and then you don't know what they're gonna become. But like if you just expect them to show up and make your life better because they want to make your life better, it's just not how people work.
Right. Yeah.
So you gotta
My
invest in them.
my sergeant told me once, he said, in the highway patrol, that's right, in California, that's where I worked for, and he was like, look, man, he's like, the highway patrol is like a circus. There's every kind of, there's chimps, there's, lions, tigers, monkeys, all this weird stuff, zebras. And he's like, and we don't take all those people. He's like, if we're doing our job right as a manager or sergeant or whatever, he's like, we don't go and we make everybody be a lion. He's like, even though you got to go out there and be a lion sometimes, some of those people just want to be chimps and run around and be goofy and do whatever they want to do. And we need to support that. We go like, good, that's who you are. That's the person you are. I'm not trying to make you a lion. I want you to be this way. And I wasn't like, I was more the guy that was like, I didn't like hammer people, right? I was like super, I try to be cool to everybody. It was like, so I didn't bring in a lot of like the state calls activity. And I got lectured all the time for it. He's like, I don't want you to do that. He's like, I'm good with you going out and doing what you do best. If you want to change tires on the side of the road for old people all the time, please do it because that's what we need. So anyway, it just like you were saying, it's very important. I feel like as we start to get people to help us through our business and hire people for the cleaning and stuff like that, is to support what they're good at. Like, oh, what is your niche? What's your thing? And then we just need to pour in on that and be like, man, you're so good at that. Stay in that. And as long as it's benefiting us and they're happy, I feel, does that make sense at all? Or am I just talking out of my,
Yeah, I'm not. My buddy's a property manager, and he likes waking up every day and at 7 a.m. and going to work, and he works till 6 p.m. and he likes in the business. He doesn't spend that much time working on new business, so I just bring in clients, and then all I have to do is talk to people and be like, "You got a property in Fayetteville? This is my guy. I bring him business. He runs the business. He don't want to do what I want to do, and I don't do what he wants to do, and everybody's happy." Every month I do the investor reports. I call my investors. I send them their cash. I talk to them. I ask them what they want. Yada yada yada. I got another partner. All he wants to do is, taxes, insurance, lending, like the bank, and then financials. He doesn't want to talk to a human being. Nobody talks to him. He don't want to talk to anybody. And so, like, we're happy. We're both happy. I'm not trying to make people anything.
yeah,
But like, if the world ran on all Alexes, we'd be screwed. I'm only good at a couple of things.
I think
You
you're
know,
good, dude. Like
I'm only good at a
everything,
couple of things.
well, you do squats like a beast. So
Yeah, I'm good at squats. I'm good at
yeah,
talking to strangers, and I'm decent with a camera. I'm good at shit talk.
I like that. That's good. Yeah. Well, the squat thing, I got to start doing that because I'm trying to gain 15 pounds of muscle this year. I went up to about 6 pounds so far this year, no, 5. And I feel like a lot of that muscle can be gained in my legs. Is that an accurate statement?
You know the answer. What'd you ask me for?
Oh. Yeah, I do know that my legs have a lot of muscle,
He
but
wants the
what my
reassurance.
question is like, do I need to go? Is it squats and doing? Because we have a squat rack in our garage, like one of those fancy fold down whatever ones. Is that what I should be focused on doing? Like, you tell me, because I have a
No.
bad back.
Uh-huh.
No,
Sure you do. What's your bad back from? Not fucking using it?
that's true. Yeah, but they,
Actually, he has a good story.
Everybody's got a good story.
Well, getting the lady out of the car on fire.
yeah. Well, what it's something they don't. What's funny? They don't know what the heck it is. It's funny because I've heard Brandon in a couple of his podcasts talking about his back, and he's like, I don't. They don't know what it is, and I'm like, that's driving me crazy, man. Because I've went to every stupid doctor, and everybody's like, oh, what's this? We're gonna give you shots and numb the nerves, and it'll fake it, and you won't feel it anymore. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want to have a fix. So that's why I stay physical and work out and lift. But I didn't know if getting into doing squats, if that you think that will help it, or you think that could hurt it. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
think
That's
there's I don't think there's any point in working out if you're not going to do squats and deadlifts.
gotcha.
You're just avoiding the thing
Yeah.
that everybody knows is the hard thing that you're supposed to do.
Well, we bought that squat rack like 10 years ago, and we've never used it.
Oh,
And we've and
I
I
used
So
it.
yeah.
let me just get this straight. You got the
Well,
you got the thing.
Yeah.
You got the thing. You
Yeah.
know it works.
Yeah.
You haven't used it,
Yeah.
and you're not in the shape you want to be in.
Yeah. You're right. Exactly. So you answered my question. Thank you. I
No, I
need
didn't answer nothing. I didn't
to
answer anything.
answer my question.
No, people are like, hey, I've been doing this process, I've been doing this, I've been doing my way for 5 years and it's not working. What should I do? And I'm like, well, any other way. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
If it's broke, fix it. Yeah. And that's what I need to do it. A little birdie told me once that you need to be careful when you're doing squats because if you do them wrong, you're not using the proper stuff, you can really screw yourself up. So I guess
um,
that's
yeah. Uh, YouTube University. Everything you need to know about squats is on YouTube University. Or there's a book called Starting Strength, which is just absolutely unparalleled in how to start building strength.
okay.
Um,
Interesting.
and it's very simple. But I think what happens is people they don't do it, then they try to do it with too much ego. I mean, squats and deadlifts are the ultimate like equalizer because well, what's interesting is it's just one of those things. Everybody knows they're supposed to do it, then they don't do it, then they get to 35 or 40, and they're like, I'm not in the shape I want to be in, and it's because they spent the last 15 or 20 years saying they went to the gym, but not doing the hard thing, and now we all know. Now we all know that we've been skimping on doing the things we're supposed to do. And that's what I love about the gym is because it's an outward, you can't lie, right? You can see it.
Yeah.
So just go do the fucking work.
I love that. And that's what we've talked about this whole year is like do the hard stuff. Anything that's like, I don't want to do that. No, I should do it. Let's go find a way to do it. And that's what we do. Like I work out 5 days a week, so does she. And right now it's like, yeah, have you heard of Beachbody? I'm sure you heard of Beachbody.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, whatever. So I do like when it's lift forward, Joel Freeman does the lifting and stuff like that. And it's helped. I mean, I've done his program a lot last year. He just came out with a new program. And it's like you said, that's what's so cool with the body is you can see it change. Like when I look in the mirror, I'm like, whoa, that wasn't there. And that's why I'm sore. I love that. So that's a cool feeling. And my wife too, she lost like 20 pounds since Vegas last year.
love it.
She's after it. And it's so good. So yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
that's
But if
cool.
you want more, you got to do more. That's all.
Yeah. It's so true.
That's all.
Yeah.
There's no cheat. There's no secret. There's just hard work, and
Are
it's
you
hard.
sure? Are you sure you want to leave Better Life? Are you going to leave the tribe, or are you just going to leave work in there? Or you don't know yet?
I'm just gonna leave work in there. I think I'll still participate.
Are you going to be at Denver still, or no?
I'm gonna pitch. I'm only gonna go if they hire me
Oh, the work is okay,
for the cameras. So
dude. Because you're just like seriously, man. You're such an inspiration to me. I think to
thank you.
both of us. You really are, dude. Like
I appreciate it.
I love like when you jumped on our private money raising private capital call. Like it saved my ass that night because we had nobody, and then Alex shows up, and I'm like, holy hell, thank God! Like we can get something done. 'Cause
I
we're all looking at
I
each other
think
like,
with this, like you have a different level of energy,
yeah,
than
Oh yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else. So,
Ain't nobody. Un. That's a very unappreciated asset. But that I bring. But it is what it
no,
is.
it's
it's
noticed.
noticed, dude. That's why, like, I
Yeah.
hope that whoever you said is bringing the calls back on, I hope they're good because you need that
You
energy.
said Caleb.
Okay, well, hopefully, I don't know. I think I met Caleb once. Hopefully, he kicked butt.
He's gonna be great.
All right, better be. And we're gonna hold him at standard. I'm gonna call him out and be like, "You're not Alex, dude. Get off this
Oh,
call."
stop.
Ain't
Yeah,
nobody Alex.
yeah. I'll be like, "You're fired, Caleb."
He's gonna be great. He's gonna be great. He's gonna be great. All right. Let me boogie on out of here.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Yeah.
Thank you so
Um,
much for taking the
I'll
call.
I'll be around.
Please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't just leave, Kay.
Yeah. Hey, another thing too, hire or put in a good word for Ryan Brooks. I know you know him. He is such a badass. He works his ass off and
He
he wants
works.
to be part of Better Life, dude. And I'm like, bro, because he puts all that stuff up all the time and he made that stinking pod call thing that we use and the guy just goes so hard. He was like super drained last pod call we talked to him. He was like super bummed. And I'm like, bro, just hang in there, man. Like you're doing the
Yeah.
right thing.
Yeah. He's interesting because he's a little all over the place. He doesn't know what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
he's talking to me about like underwriting deals, and then he's talking about Better Life and doing this stuff, and then he's in another group that I'm in called the War Room, and he's like wants to help them, and I'm like, it's actually a disservice to himself when he says yes to everything, because then I'm like, it's easy to say yes.
Yeah.
So
That's
I don't know exactly where he fits yet, but his enthusiasm will get him something. But I think part of the problem he has is that he is, um, everybody needs, like, value is not given by permission, it's created by the ambitious. So like he's running around going like, "Can I build something?" I'm like, "Go for it." And he's like, "Well, I need you to do something." I'm like, "You don't need me to do anything to build something." And so what I think the problem is, he's like, "We got to do this pod deck," and I'm like, "Yeah, do it." And he's like, "Well, we need to get it out of the tribe," and I'm like, "Dude, you're trying to solve problems that we are not focused on, and I know and if they're valuable, go solve them, but like don't." It's not right for you to be like, "Hey, I solved this problem that isn't really a problem for you guys, but I want you to take resources to go off and do all this stuff." And it's the same thing with the underwriting, where he's like, "I want to do underwriting." I'm like, "I don't have that many deals to underwrite." So like, you're trying to solve a problem that I don't. You have a solution to a problem that I don't really have right now. Um, so he'll find his way, and I love his enthusiasm, and I like the guy, but he is trying to provide solutions right now instead of that he likes or he thinks about, not like asking like, "What problem do you have?" and then solving it. Instead, he wants to be like an employee. And I'm like, nobody needs an employee that they don't like like apply to a job opening. But if you want to like come up with a creative solution, then you need to be more entrepreneurial and just like go actually solve a problem. And then, you know, so anyways, he's in a weird spot, but he'll be fine. I love that dude. It's just a matter of like what again, you're talented,
Yeah.
you're ambitious, but finding the very specific right fit and right style is just gonna take a little time.
But we
I appreciate that.
Oh my, sad.
thanks for ruining our day.
Right away, we're like,
Well,
"You're on Smacks." He's like,
Like,
"Yeah,
I'm out of here. Like, are you joking? Really? You just crushed
I'm
our heart.
I'm hard to tame.
That's it, man. That's good, man. God gave you a purpose in life, and whatever that purpose is, go do it, right? And whatever, if you feel like you need to go take on chaos, go take it on. Keep doing it, right?
Where do
Whatever
you guys
makes
live? You guys live in Denver?
yeah."
Florida.
Oh,
What, do we live in Denver?
I thought you said we're
No,
going to Denver. Sorry.
we live in Florida. Why?
I'm gonna move to Texas.
Supposed to
I'm just
come see
curious.
us. Remember, you were out in North Carolina, and you said you were too busy. I was like, "Pfft, whatever."
Because that's Florida.
Yeah, that's a 6 hour
Close.
drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
What part of Florida?
Southwest, Sarasota County. So in between like Tampa, Miami.
I will be in Sarasota this year.
Shut
No
the
way.
fuck up.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you can stay here. It's a dump, dude. Like we got crap
You
everywhere.
might want to stay in one of the
I'm gonna
Airbnbs.
Yeah.
go. Do you know Jay Scott?
No. Do we? No, I don't know him
You don't
personally,
know.
but
No,
yeah.
but you
Do you know who he
know.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah, good buddy of mine. So I'm gonna go see him.
Oh, that's
No
awesome.
way.
So yeah, I'll
Dude.
hit you up when I get there.
Yeah, please do, man. It'd be so cool to see you. And we're always here, man. If you're in Florida, you need a place to crash or whatever, we got
You
a
guys do
place.
any local meetups?
No, we're actually going to do one. Someone posted it on Better Life yesterday, and it's in Tampa. He's hosting it, so we're going to go do that one. There hasn't been a lot, which is lame. And I'm searching all over Facebook, and
Why
it's
don't you
like,
start one?
there you
That's
go.
a good
That's a good point. We need to do that. We need to get more people connected out here for sure.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm gonna start one in Austin, even though there's like 10.
Well,
I'm just
you
gonna.
know you're gonna be like the
Yeah.
coolest one, and
yeah,
everybody's gonna be like, "Forget you guys.
yeah. And take them
Correct.
all down, man.
We gotta go get some energy from Alex."
I am good at the hype.